Welcome to Our Devil. Today we are taking a look at r/am I the antagonist. Our first story is from Weird Morning 2584. Am I the antagonist for not bringing my stepsiblings when I take my brother and sister places? I, 24 male, have two siblings, James chapter 16 male and Alice 14 female. Our parents divorced 6 years ago and they live with our mom majority of the time. And spend their summers and every other holiday with our dad. Mom got remarried a couple years ago to Mitch, who also has two kids, Mason 11 male and Bradley 8 male. They live with my mom and Mitch year-round. I'm polite to my mom's new family. I don't have anything against them. I just already have a dad that I can see when I want and see my parents' families a lot. I don't really spend a whole lot of time with my step-siblings, but I do spend a lot of time with James and Alice. Sometimes they ask to come to my place and spend a weekend, or I'll take them to stuff like anime cons or out to eat. They got back from their summer at Dad's last week. They said they wanted to spend a couple nights with me and I was more than happy to and went to pick them up. When I got there, Mom and Mitch told me I needed to take my step-siblings too because they always feel left out and they're my siblings too. I said I didn't mean to make them feel left out, but I really don't want to bring them. Hardly know them and not good with kids that young. I didn't get close with my own brother and sister until they were teens. I also don't want to bring 4 kids out and watch that many. It's not like I completely ignore them. I give them gifts on their birthdays and holiday. I don't ban them from my place when my mom visits. I don't exclude them when I invite the whole family to something. Then my mom asked if I would do it as a favor for her sometimes when I take my siblings so that her and Mitch could get some downtime. Way I see it. Their downtime anytime I want to see my siblings isn't my problem. Why not use the time I have James and Alice as time to give Mason and Bradley undivided attention? More than that. James and Alice like it just being them and they get left at home plenty when Mason and Bradley's maternal grandparents want to see them. It ended with Mom saying that either all the kids come with or none of them go. I wound up taking them all for the night so I could at least see James and Alice, but they were miserable. I dropped them off and said never again unless I wanted to. Today, James and Alice asked if First could take them somewhere, but Mom told them no unless I took all kids and I said no. Now she's not letting them go. Am I the antagonist? Comment by Terrible Order 2020. Not the antagonist. You should ask your mom why doesn't she ask the stepkids' grandparents to take them? Comment by Heart Pine Floors. Not the antagonist info. Does your father know that you are no longer being allowed to go out with your teen siblings unless you babysit your mother's young stepchildren? Maybe he can intervene, and this might even be a violation of their custodial agreement. Edited to add. In some areas. You can even file with the court for your own visitation rights. Comment by Outpost Road. Not the antagonist. Your mom is being ridiculous. She should be encouraging your bond with your brother and sister. And besides, 14 and 16 is very different from 11 and 8. Aside from that, I imagine you were already out of the house or close to it when the stepsiblings came into the picture. She's trying to force a bond that just isn't there. Our next story is from Kakorant 6763. Am I the antagonist for kicking my brother out over a joke? I, 25 male, and my girlfriend Ava, 25 female, have been dating for 2 years now. And we recently moved in together. Due to the pandemic starting around the time we began dating, she'd never met my older brother Jard, 36 male, till now. For context, Ava was involved in a pretty bad car crash when she was 16. While stopped at a red light, she was rear-ended by a drunk driver. I've seen the pictures and they are pretty bad, so I'll spare the details. Ava made it out alive with a fractured hip, broken nose, concussion, and some pretty sizable scars. Because of the accident, Ava still goes to PT for her hip and has a bad memory. If it's not written down, it goes in one ear and out the other, her words not mine. Yesterday morning Ava left pretty early for her appointment. She had forgotten her notebook at home, which has all her important info and lists for the day. So when she got home she was shocked to see Jard in the apartment. It took a minute or so to remind her what was going on. When she remembered, she smiled and went to introduce herself to Jard. Jard laughed at her and said, "I didn't know you were dating the fish from Nemo, at least she's got a fatty." Ava was reasonable shocked by this and tried to continue on with introducing herself. Jard said he didn't need to know her name cause he was going to call her Dory. He then made a joke about Ava's scar. She was wearing a tank top so you could see the scar going from her right shoulder down her arm. The second Jard said that I got super pissed and kicked him out, telling him he wasn't welcome in our house and not to contact me. All day my parents have been calling and telling me I'm overreacting and should apologize and talk to Jard again. Ava is thankful I kicked him out and our friends agree I did the right thing. I feel bad now. Like maybe my reaction was a little out of line and over the top. Am I the antagonist? Comment by Octahoney. Not the antagonist. First of all, he is 36 and talks like that? Brew. You are not 16 anymore to have an excuse for talking like that. And second, he is the one who should apologize to you and your girlfriend. Not the other way around. Even if he didn't mention the scar. Everything else he said was also just so wrong. Especially since they are technically complete strangers. The disrespect. You did great. Comment by Sleepakaepahomi. Not the antagonist. Is your brother a bully from a 1980s movie? Comment by Cinder Droplet. Jard is a bully. He couldn't be decent when meeting someone you care about for the first time? I'd cut him out for good. Our next story is from Paramedic Meet. Am I the antagonist for moving out because I can't pay the bills? The UK is in a crisis with energy bills right now and it's going to get worse. Predictions are for bills to rise over 80% this winter. Last winter was bad enough for my household and I only just got by. Me, 25 female, and friends of 27 female, and B, 26 male, live together. Their income is more but we split everything evenly. Growing up poor I'm very conscious about how my usage. The other two are not. They leave lights on 24/7. They have heating on for hours with windows open and refuse to wear a jumper if it's cold. A has an AC she leaves on for hours even when she's not in and B sleeps with a heater and a fan on all night. Both sleep with their TVs on. I've had multiple talks with them about their usage and stated clearly if they cannot cut down on bills I'll have to move out. Yesterday I got our recent electric bill. In a year it's gone from £60/m to just under £200. I sat them down and told them I cannot afford to live like this. I proposed the following rules. 1. Heating is turned off all summer and put on a timer in winter. If you're cold wrap up. Electronics are turned off when not in use. 3. AC/heater/fan all go on timers and not for hours. Hot water goes on a timer. 5. We get a smart meter and if it goes over a set amount we get stricter with usage. They refused all these rules saying it's not their fault, the country is in crisis and they won't give up their comfort because of my problems. A told me to get a better paying job but she knows I can't, entry level and pay goes up after training. No resolution was made so last night my mum said I can live with her for a while to save. I told them this morning I'll be moving out in 6 weeks when our contract ends and they blew up saying they can't afford rent and bills without my share and don't have anyone to replace me. They're both saying I am a selfish and now they won't even talk to me. Neither have sent me the money for the bill. I do feel bad because I don't know how they'll cope without my input but I'm broke. My savings are almost gone. Am I the antagonist? Too long didn't read. I can't afford our bills because of my friend's excessive usage. Tried to compromise but they refused so I'm moving back in with my mum. Now they can't afford rent without me. Am I the antagonist? Comment by ThinkCow83. Not the antagonist. I can't afford to live like this. I propose this. No. Okay. I'm giving notice. Comment by 295 Phoenix. Let me get this straight. Up. Guys. I just can't afford what the electricity bill has become. We need to cut back. Here's my suggestions. Guys. No you. We won't compromise our comfort. Up. Okay. Guys. I won't be renewing the leasing. I need to move out. Guys. No. How dare you? Exclamation mark. Do they hear their hypocrisy? Comment by OK Control 787. Not the antagonist. Tell them to get a higher paying job. Lol. Our next story is from Dish Professional 432. Am I the antagonist for ignoring a kid's life-threatening allergy? My wife and I moved out of the city and bought a small acreage a year ago. We've been saving for years to live a life that was free of HOAs/restrictions. The first week after we moved in we had a lot of people stop by. One of them was Amanda. Almost immediately she appeared distressed. She asked why we had peanuts on our patio. We explained that we put them out for the birds and squirrels. She explained that her 11-year-old son had a severe allergy to nuts and could we please stop. As she explained it, birds and squirrels could drop or hide nuts close to her house. A few roads over. I will admit, I got my back up a bit because we had purposefully moved to a rural area to get away from restrictions. But my wife convinced me it wasn't a big deal and we could just switch to seeds. We did just so, and while the birds don't visit as much, I figured it was an okay compromise for the sake of a little boy. We only see Amanda in passing ever since, but are always cordial with each other. The big issue came 2 weeks ago. I recently started selling things at the local market: eggs, peacock feathers, fruit from our fruit trees, my wife's crafts, and walnuts from the trees on our land. We've been providing a pretty solid addition to our income. 2 weeks ago, Amanda came pounding on our door. My wife, who is very non-confrontational, answered, and Amanda demanded to see our walnut trees as she had heard from a neighbor that they were on our land. My wife admitted we had about 10 but made up an excuse saying she had to leave for an appointment. Before leaving, Amanda exclaimed, 10? Exclamation mark. Well, obviously they'll need to be cut down. Tisk. Tisk. We've already had this discussion. This week Amanda showed up while I was home with a petition, less than 20 names, demanding we cut down our trees. My rationale was the trees were decades old and if he hasn't encountered the nuts yet, it would be unlikely he would in the future. She was obviously very angry and said, if I had known about them they wouldn't be decades old. She threatened to bring her petition to the local authorities and call the police for public endangerment. I admit, I got angry and was a bit snarky, saying that a mature walnut tree in our area goes for about $500. So if she wanted to offer $5,000 plus the income I plan to make from the nuts every year plus the cost of an arborist to remove them, I would consider it. She left angrily and yelled I would hear from the police. Which I haven't. My wife is on my side but thinks I was an antagonist about how I said no. A few of our neighbors have said they think Amanda is an antagonist but that I'm also an antagonist because the boy could suffer an allergic reaction because of a few trees I'm being pig-headed about. Just hoping others could weigh in. Edit. Her son has allergies to peanuts, nuts, eggs, and shellfish. Our local grocery keeps nuts in sealed containers and the school is completely nut-free. I'm a woman. As well. Comment by Jovit Hunter. Not the antagonist. But get trail cams. I foresee a post in r/tree law. Also, if they are black walnuts the value could be as high as $15,000 each. People plant those for retirement. Comment by Small Town Mortician. Not the antagonist but do start documenting all interactions with her. This is gonna get worse before it gets better. Comment by I am herding cats. Not the antagonist. Listen. I have a pretty severe nut allergy and I grew up on a walnut and hazelnut farm. Unless I want to roll in the nuts I'm in no danger. I don't pretend to know how bad this kid's allergies are. But forcing the entire neighborhood to go nut-free for the sake of her kids sounds super over the top. Besides, peanuts aren't nuts, they're legumes. If her kid is allergic to nuts she should know the difference. He could have both nut and legume allergies. But you still shouldn't have to restrict what is served, or grown, on your own property. Our next story is from Responsible End 3022. Am I the antagonist for refusing to apologize for kicking Grandpa out of a party? My wife and I divorced and I was awarded physical custody of our 2 sons as well as the son she has outside our marriage. She is angry about that. Because I have physical custody. I don't consult her on every little thing. Our son, Josh, who is 6, had curly hair that needed to be cut so I cut it. When my ex picked him up, she had a fit. We had a long argument about why I should or shouldn't consult her about cutting his hair. Mind you, I had 0 issues when all 3 came back from her house with red, green and blue hair a couple of months ago. I thought it was ridiculous and asked her if our son's curls were a proxy for her not having custody and if so. To get over it, I hung up on her. Plus she was yelling while saying she wasn't A few weeks later, we had a pool party for our 12-year-old son's birthday. Both of our families were there. Her dad asked to speak with me privately. He told me that he thought I was out of line in how I communicated to my ex and I ought to be more kind. My ex lives with him. I told him that it was none of his business and to tell me 3 things she can improve on. He said it's not about her. It's about me. I laughed and said he proved my point that he thinks she can't do no wrong and if he didn't like how I spoke to her then get the duck out. I paid for the pool. He did. Now he's spinning the story that I kicked him out and how he feels uncomfortable to come to my son's sporting events because of me. My ex asked me to apologize as to not make things worse. I refused to apologize for something I didn't do. Comment by Cathalu. Are people seriously saying he's the antagonist? Do you know how rare it is for a dad to get full custody of kids, so that means she must have been doing some messed up shit. And it's a hair grows back FFS, get over it people, it's not that big of a deal, it's not like he pierced them. Comment by Pumpkinpree 427. Info. How old was the babysitter? Comment by Zeronic. Info. Can you provide more insight to how you ended up with full custody? Including custody of a kid who isn't yours? My assumption is that your ex must be pretty irresponsible for this to happen. But that context isn't clear. Others have said you come across as very controlling. But this might be born out of necessity if she's been out of control for an extended period of time. Given her father's inability to even recognize any of her faults, this would make the most sense to me. But I can only speculate. Filling in some of these blanks would be incredibly helpful. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this video, smash the like button, and subscribe to our Devil. See you in the next one.